everyone, welcome to a creepy and a scary episode of BioLogic Science News. Do you remember all the fuss about bird flu that was going on in 2013 and 2014? You might have heard the names H7N9 or H7N9 used to describe various strains of avian flu that everyone was getting all freaked out about. Well, today I bring you news of H7N9. A strain of avian flu that's stronger and more pathogenic than all the other strains before it. H7N9 is a strain of avian flu in China that for many years was believed to be stable and of a relatively low pathology. But recently, H7N9 appears to have accumulated a few adaptations to become more resistant to drugs and better able to spread among hosts. A study published in the journal Cell Host and Microbe documented the efforts of Dr. Yoshihiro Kawaoka and his research team at the University of Wisconsin-Madison as they attempted to isolate this strain and conduct clinical trials on it in animals. They used ferrets in their study, and they found that the avian flu killed not just the ferrets directly infected with the flu, but even those ferrets who were just kept in close proximity. This implies the disease can be spread through the air, which makes it a lot harder to contain and a lot easier to spread. Dr. Kawaoka and his team studied H7N9's response to various antiviral drugs, like oseltamivir, which is also known as Tamiflu. The problem is that Tamiflu is typically considered a gold standard, or a first line of defense against viral infections. But it doesn't do anything to this resistant strain of H7N9. It can't touch it. The avian flu did, however, react to a drug called favipiravir. This is an inhibitor that shuts down the viral DNA by preventing polymerase activity. But it's only been approved for use in a single country, Japan. And even then, that approval is only in a pandemic emergency. Dr. Kawaoka said in a press release, and I quote, "I don't want to cause alarm, but it's only a matter of time before the resistant virus acquires a mutation that allows it to grow well, rendering it more likely to be lethal at the same time it is resistant." The H7N9 virus is often compared to an older strain called H5N1, which was highly pathogenic, and it was one of these viruses that was feared to potentially spread to humans and cause a pandemic. Earlier in the decade, Dr. Kawaoka had actually done research on H5N1, trying to find out what mutations might occur to induce greater drug resistance, or a higher pathological potency. Using what he found from his research, he hopes to find ways to treat H7N9 with drugs that it isn't resistant to. H7N9 is a scary disease. It's one that many epidemiologists and pathologists and other experts think is capable of developing greater affinity for humans and become more transmissible between humans. If the virus evolves to become more pathogenic to us, and it can be spread through the air, and it's potentially lethal, we're looking at an extremely dangerous scenario. Some of the articles that I'm looking at include a quote from Michael Osterholm, who's the managing director of the University of Minnesota's CIDRAP, the Center for Infectious Disease Research and Policy. Dr. Osterholm sums up the threat from the strain of avian flu when he's talking about Dr. Kawaoka's most recent paper. He says that, should an outbreak occur, the world is woefully undersupplied with drugs and respirators, and the supply chains for these items have not been planned out very well. About Dr. Kawaoka's study specifically, Dr. Osterholm warns that it's, and I quote, "another stark reminder that we could be sitting on top of a global time bomb with H7N9.